The clock glowed 3:02 a.m. A shiver ran down my spine. Something wasn't right. The air felt heavy, loaded with unseen tension. It always felt like this just before 3:03 a.m. Then it began, a high-pitched, mournful whistle, weaving its way through the silence of our old house. The sound seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. It wasn't threatening exactly, more like a lonely lament, but it filled me with an unshakable dread. My parents had warned me about the 3:03 a.m. whistle. It was a phenomenon that plagued only our neighborhood, a strange melody that echoed through our lives. The rule was simple, absolute, and terrifying. Never, ever look for the source of the sound. Don't step outside. Don't even peek through the window. Just stay inside, preferably in a room without windows, and wait for the eerie tune to fade away. Curiosity, they said, could have disastrous consequences. I remembered a time years ago when I was just a kid. We were all gathered in the kitchen, my friends and I, huddled around a flickering nightlight. It was 3:02 a.m. and the air was thick with anticipation and fear. The adults were asleep, oblivious to our childish daring. We whispered stories about the whistle, each more fantastical and frightening than the last. Some said it was the ghost of a heartbroken lover searching for his lost love. Others claimed it was a mischievous spirit playing tricks on unsuspecting souls. Whatever it was, we were all united in our terror and our forbidden curiosity. Then it started. The haunting melody drifted through the kitchen window, sending shivers down our spines. One of my friends, Tommy, the bravest, or perhaps the most foolish among us, crept towards the window. He wanted to see who or what was making that sound. Before any of us could stop him, Tommy had his face pressed against the glass. We held our breath, our hearts pounding in our chests. The whistling stopped abruptly. Silence descended, heavier and more oppressive than before. Tommy stumbled back from the window, his face pale and his eyes wide with terror. He didn't tell us what he saw, but whatever it was, it had shaken him to his core. From that day forward, Tommy never mentioned the whistle again. He became withdrawn, his laughter silenced, his eyes haunted by an unspoken fear. The experience served as a stark reminder to the rest of us. The whistle was not a game. It was a force to be feared, a mystery best left unsolved. Despite the inherent danger, our neighborhood seemed to enjoy an unusual streak of good fortune. Businesses thrived, people lived long and healthy lives, and accidents were rare. Some whispered that the whistle, for all its unsettling qualities, was a harbinger of good luck. As long as we respected its power and adhered to the rule, we were safe. Years passed, and the memory of that night in the kitchen faded, replaced by the mundane routines of adulthood. New families moved into the neighborhood, bringing with them their own hopes, dreams, and, unfortunately, their ignorance. They scoffed at our stories, dismissing them as old wives' tales, harmless superstitions. One such newcomer was Mr. Harris, a skeptical and arrogant man who moved into the old Victorian house at the end of the street. He laughed off our warnings about the whistle, calling us all paranoid and delusional. He claimed that he didn't believe in ghosts, spirits, or anything that couldn't be explained by science and logic. One particularly humid night, as the clock ticked past 3 a.m., the now familiar dread began to creep in. The air grew heavy, and a palpable sense of unease settled over our house. I lay in bed, listening to the sound of my own heartbeat, waiting for the inevitable. Then it started. The mournful, piercing whistle echoing through the stillness of the night. I heard a shout from down the street. It was Mr. Harris, his voice filled with a mixture of fear and defiance. He was yelling at something or someone outside his house. I knew instantly that he had broken the rule. He had looked for the source of the whistle. The whistling stopped. A heavy silence blanketed the neighborhood, broken only by the sound of Mr. Harris's ragged breathing. Then a series of blood-curdling screams shattered the night. They were screams of pure terror, the sounds of a man facing something truly horrifying. The screams were followed by a sickening thud, then silence. The next morning, the neighborhood awoke to a scene of chaos. Mr. Harris was gone, vanished without a trace. His house stood empty, its doors wide open as if he had run for his life. There were no signs of a struggle, no clues as to what had happened. The police were baffled, but we, the long-time residents of the neighborhood, knew the truth. Mr. Harris had tempted fate, and he had paid the ultimate price. His disappearance served as a chilling reminder to us all. The whistle was not a myth, nor was it a harmless prank. It was a powerful force, one that demanded our respect and obedience. The 3:03 a.m. whistle continued to haunt our neighborhood, a constant reminder of the unseen forces that surrounded us. It was a reminder to heed the warnings of those who came before us, to respect the unknown, and to never, ever underestimate the power of a good ghost story. Most importantly, it was a reminder that some mysteries are best left unsolved, for in the darkness, curiosity can indeed be a dangerous thing. Remember this, always. When the whistle blows, close your eyes, cover your ears, and pray for dawn.